One of the first trips I did on the Trail Rider was overnight camping in a tent. And we went up some very rugged mountainous area and pitched the tent, and I got these guys to throw me into the tent, and I remember waking up in the morning and managing to get the tent open a bit and just looking around at the forest and realizing that I was really in the middle of nowhere. This is not somewhere where quadriplegics can be found. And it was such a liberating experience. It was really exhilarating. Vancouver is a very new city. It's less than 130 years old. More than 50% of Vancouver population comes from somewhere else. So it's a city of immigrants constantly being renewed. People can come here and do very well. There's not the ethnic tensions and the kind of divisions that you might find in other parts of the world. I was the mayor of the city for 3 years, and I was a city councillor for 12 years. So for 15 years, I've been really honored to be a part of the decision-making of the city. I, as the mayor, wanted to do a lot of things. Some of them didn't get done. And maybe it is more possible to accomplish those things outside of City Hall than in City Hall. One of the things I believe strongly in is that people with drug addictions are not criminals. They are not even sick people. They're disabled. They have a long-term issue that needs to be managed. They have a management problem.
The idea behind it is you're supplying the heroin to addicts to help them stabilize?
It's not just about giving them heroin, it's also about the counseling relationships that try and give them positive types of social activities and positive social relationships and psychological treatment to treat their past abuse or their depression or anxiety or psychosis.
So people came into the clinic 3 times a day, I believe, was it, for an hour a day, and they received heroin or methadone, but they also received ancillary services, so counseling. Their health concerns were looked at, so it was an integrated model of health.
Methadone is a heroin substitute for Puritans. You don't enjoy it, you kind of don't like it, it's
causes a bit of
awful.
dysphoria.
It makes you feel miserable.
There is a withdrawal period associated with methadone. While it takes the physical symptoms away, it does not deal with the emotional symptoms. It doesn't dampen the emotional pain. So there is definitely, it's a smaller cliff to jump off than going to nothing, but it's nice to have something in between.
I mean, I seriously believe that I wouldn't be here right now if Naomi hadn't have got me in when I did. I really do. I was 72 pounds. I was suicidal. I didn't care. The second I walked in the door for the first time of Naomi, I'll probably cry. It's very okay to cry. No, no, it was just like all the fear was gone. You know, these guys, I really don't think I'd be here.
First time I met you, we had a nice conversation in your office. I remember saying the way to sell it, to society in general, because people don't like the idea of giving drugs to addicts, is to sell not just harm reduction for the addicts, because the society at large does not give a shit. sell it as harm reduction for society. Stop the broken windows, stop the crime, vandalism, people feeling unsafe walking down the street.
I said to Sam Sullivan, the former mayor, who was visionary enough to try this, that's how it has to be presented or it doesn't have its chance. I think also the problem here has gotten bad enough that people are now willing to say, well, I don't like the sound of this, but we'll give you some time, try it, anything, because we've spent all this money and tried enforcement, this, that. It's just getting worse and worse. It's a real black eye in the city. And it's a pretty city, it's a nice city.
What's this called?
So at least he did have the leeway to try something. No one may have liked the idea, but at least someone is tackling it.
Can I shake your hand, sir? I'm Michelle. God bless you.
But you see how human these people are? These are not criminals. They're honest people. But they need some way to help them manage their disability. This is what I do with my wheelchair. I manage my problem. I don't fix it.
It's very avant-garde in thinking. It's very ahead of its time. And I could see easily how people could spin this as you, as a championer of drug use, crime, and not caring for the ordinary citizen and favoring what you call disabilities, taking the Disability Act too far.
Yeah. We hire more police. Okay, now we're going to feel safer. Well, the more police you hire, the more you restrict the supply of drugs, the more the price goes up. The more the profits go up, the more people want to get into it. The more drugs get sold.
So your thinking here is very innovative.
Counterintuitive. I'll tell you, my first political lesson that brought me here was when I was learning how to fly ultralight airplanes. I'm flying up in the air, and all of a sudden I start to lose wind speed, and I start to stall and go down. What I did was I pulled up. I'm starting to go down, I want to pull up. And the instructor beside me, he let me do that enough until we were in serious trouble, and then he grabbed my arm and pushed it forward. So we were going straight to the ground. We got enough speed, and once we had enough speed, then you could take off again. So what I learned from that is the intuitive thing, the thing we think should work, is sometimes the wrong thing. So with drugs, we're pulling up when we should be pushing down. And the more we pull up, the more crime, the more prisons, the more horrible medical problems, the more broken families, the more dead junkies. Push down. Let's try that for a while and see if things get better. As a disabled person, quite often you're limited to pretty sterile urban areas, but to be able to break loose, get out on the water, and to be in control is a really wonderful experience. One of the real powerful emotional moments for me is to look back on the shore and see my empty wheelchair. The Disabled Sailing Association was the very first program in the world having severely disabled people sailing on their own, racing, participating in this activity that most people would never associate with disability. There would be very high-level quadriplegics, people who couldn't move their arms at all. So we decided to take on the project of fitting a sip and puff device to the sailboat. We now have people who are completely paralyzed from the neck down, able to sail.
There's one straw for the helm and there's one straw for the sails. So it's pretty intuitive. You sip to starboard and puff to port. And with the sails, you puff to let the sails out and you sip to bring them in. able to just fly along on the wind and tune the sailboat to go as fast as you can go. Just leaving the wheelchair behind, it's freedom.
Last time I was here was the last time I was walking.
Is that too tight? Not tight enough?
That's fine.
That's good, yeah.
I actually broke my neck skiing in the same area we were hiking in. And it was pretty eerie in a way for me to go back there. I was 19, just turned 19. We were skiing between each other's legs, and we were going quite fast down one hill, and I tried to ski between the guy's legs. And we did a tumble, and I felt my neck break, and I immediately lost contact with my arms and legs and my body. After my injury, I wanted to go hiking, I wanted to go camping, and I developed a one-wheeled vehicle. And I drew out on a napkin the thing that I thought would get me in the areas that I'd like to go, and gave it to an engineer, and he did a great job putting it together. By redesigning basically a wheelbarrow / rickshaw, we were able to make it possible for people like me and many, many others to go hiking again.
As beautiful of a spot as this is, and I walk down and that sailboat there is insane. And this is a pearl of the planet. I'm just as happy going to a dock off the ferry that's flat and having a few beers right now. So if you want to, I'm open to whatever we want to do here, that's all.
No, it's not that often that I get strong guys like you, and basically
I was hoping you were gonna say, let's get the beers. Oh, you're so...
No, I'm gonna make you work.
Come on, let's go.
This is worth it. All right, you're on, buddy.
Is this worth it?
It's worth it. It's stunning. It's stunning.
It's 1,
2.
Excellent.
I actually think I'm a very lucky man. I keep telling my friends, I just feel so lucky. Like, how did I get to be so lucky, It's you're a quadriplegic, yeah, right, that's true. But I don't have a consciousness of it. I'm just busy, I'm setting goals, I'm always trying to do new things. I remember 23 years ago, suicidal. It was a close one. Imagine the things that I've done in the last couple decades. Going around the world, sailing, hiking, climbing. I was the mayor of the best city in the world. If I had to change one thing in it, I wouldn't change it at all. I wouldn't miss even the disability.
1, 2, 3.
Cool.
There was a couple of things about my thinking. Probably the most important one was I stopped thinking about myself. How bad my life is and how much I'm missing and what I should be doing. The other thing that I committed to myself was I would never let disability be a reason for not doing something. Before my injury, there were 10 billion opportunities for me to explore. Now there's probably 5 billion. Far more than I'll ever be able to attempt.